What do you see falling through this hourglass, huh? Wrong. Numbers are concepts. You can't see them. Those are symbols of numbers. Let's look at how symbols differ from real things. The essence of reality explores how the psyche which you are creates the reality you encounter. Well, now you've found the essence of reality. We explore consciousness here, the nature of your own existence, that is, how reality actually works. Common paradigms like science and religion simply don't describe experienced reality, and worse yet, if you believe in them, they actually hide life's real flow. You create your life's qualities. No God does, no external power source does, you do. If you want to see how that works, stick around with an open mind and come back again. We have many a topic to cover. This issue explores consciousness with a focus on symbolism. You probably don't think much about symbolism in daily life. A focus on daily activities, a job, studies, raising kids, making meals. You probably just think about what's going on, what you need to do, maybe some planning for things coming up. But your life is stacked hip deep in symbols and symbolism. The most obvious symbols are insignias for brand names and organizations, that sort of thing. But I'm talking about much more subtle effects, much more basic, where some sound or sign is used to represent a basic element of reality. If you can sort through them, begin to discern symbols from real things, you will go a long way toward immediate perception of what you are. People who tune into EoR and keep coming back tend to want to do that, to dive ever deeper into the essence of reality they experience daily. Recognizing life's many layers of interlaced symbols is a key step in that direction. Tom Nehrer here, Exploring Consciousness. Insights here add to my website, my books, and hundreds of talks I've given to open-minded groups. From a mystic experience years ago through my long inner journey, I've come to see the oneness of things, how you're connected to events and relationships, not separate and apart, like science and religion imply. Aware of that connection, you can improve real life in all ways by finding and changing inner roots to outer problems. I call this clear awareness, dispelling beliefs to clearly see how life works. The beliefs that need to be dispelled, like science and religion, those are relatively easy to see, particularly when I graphically illustrate their fallacy and artificiality. They're a bit more difficult to get rid of. You need to consciously reset your subconscious to eliminate the phony truths that they harbor. Far trickier, though, are the many levels of symbolic representation that weave in and out of life's features. Things we often consider real are actually only symbols of other essences that may be real, or only symbols of yet other things. Here's what I mean. Language embodies the most obvious of symbols. Language has been used for ages to communicate ideas. Sounds are created to represent, that is, symbolize objects, actions, and other elements of everyday life. My means of communication with you is so common, so frequently used, that you don't actually think or have to think about the words I use. You learned language so early and so completely that the words themselves disappear behind the recognized meaning. Since I've opened this video, I've uttered over 500 words, 500 symbols of things or actions, relationships or being. You haven't noticed or thought about a single word, only the meaning. Even the spoken words are mere combinations of sounds that symbolize meaning. If I say, I drove my car to the store, I've uttered about 15 sounds. That is 15 audible symbols of meaning. I, D, R, O, V, M, I, K, and so forth. But with no deliberation at all, you understand what I meant. I drove my car to the store. By sharing language in this case English, we can communicate complex things. Sound combinations represent words, and words symbolize objects, actions, and so forth. Already we're 2 layers of symbol deep just in common communication. But then language is very commonly written down, not just spoken. Here we have visual symbols, an I, a space, a D, an R, an O, and so forth, 28 of them, that now represent the sounds, which symbolize the words, which signify the thing or act. In reading written language, one is 3 levels deep in symbols. Now, daily life consists of observation, planning various actions and carrying them out. In all of those steps, particularly including any communication involved in the mix, you are dealing with symbols. Even in observing your environment, you typically translate the visual object into a word that symbolizes it. We were all taught to speak very early on, so our minds are very much conditioned to dealing with symbols of things rather than collections of unlabeled items before our eyes. If you look at a room with tables and chairs, you think of them as tables and chairs, not as an interrelated whole. You supply the symbol's name specific words practically automatically. That symbology includes other people as well. They have names too. Thinking of someone by name, for example, that you would like to call or text, your mind symbolizes that person with their given name. But the word, which is the name, also conjures up various impressions of that person. Looks, level of friendship, aspects of, pointed interest that elicit the call or texting. So you're loaded with symbols all along as you do anything. The words you would use to call or text, the mental impressions you're dealing with about that friend, the points you would make while in communication, all of these are symbol upon symbol upon symbol. It's worthy to note too that you don't escape symbolism during sleep. The meaning contained in your dreams is principally symbolic. Years ago, to illustrate, I had recurring dreams in which 3 bears would appear and always head towards me. I had to find a shelter or get away in some fashion so the bears didn't get me. As I proceeded to explore my dreams for meaning, part of my own inner journey, I came to realize that the bears represented 3 problem areas of life that I had to delve into and change. The bears weren't literal. They weren't fearful animals or real threats coming to attack me, but rather symbols of the word to bear, that is, to carry. I was carrying along 3 main issues having to do with significant parts of my life. So here, the bears were purely signifying the concept of a similar word in English to the animal. They were symbols. Dreams can be literal, but for the most part, dream features are highly symbolic like that, making it beneficial to recognize the symbolism of life elements. Are you getting a feel for symbols as key elements of daily life? It's much deeper than that still. If I would ask, who are you? What would you reply? Most would iterate their names, but you certainly are not your name. That's just a symbol, a phonetic moniker that differentiates you from others. Your car, in that same sense, is not fully defined by its model name. My Pontiac Vibe GT that I've traveled thousands of miles in to give talks isn't really that model label. What it is a large complex machine that has carried me around, has a motor and wheels and lots of other features. The name just designates it. Likewise, your name designates you, a symbol. But you are not the symbol. Confusing the object, the part of reality designated by a symbolic name, with the name itself is a common error. Let's look deeper at you and your nature. If you aren't your name, then what are you? Many would think next of their body, a glob of flesh, some 6 trillion cells contained within their skin boundaries. But the real you is far more than that. Your essence comprises your accomplishments, your talents, your wit and hopes, your fears, your disappointments. What you really are is way more than the symbolic description of physical components, of your name or family, of your mental or other intangible characteristics. What you are is the totality of many, many aspects of your life. Tangibles like the car you drive and the house or apartment you live in, plus the stuff you own, all these reflect characteristics of you. If you were different in nature, you'd have different stuff. But also you embody other intangible characteristics. Your tastes in music, clothes, food, your habits, your long-term goals, and many more, even less tangible elements. These are all part of you too. Now, I've used many words here: tastes, goals, your car. Those are symbols of things, but also symbols of aspects of you. My point here is this: symbols are mere words. Reality is layered with symbols of things, symbols that are necessary to delineate life so the mind can comprehend it. But the symbols carry meaning, and that meaning of what seem to be external aspects of your life is the important part. Because that meaning you comprise outwardly, including your name, body, possessions, relationships, job, accomplishments, and all other attributes, is the outer composite of your being. But that complex reflects yet another composite of inner meaning that is held within the vast storage of your subconscious. There we use words as symbols too. Within the psyche, your nature consists of knowledge, propensities, hopes, fears, a self-image, a worldview, beliefs, definitions, drives, intent, and much more. Beyond layers of names, words, symbols that comprise both the outer and the inner, you are the totality of both. The outer realm of collective attributes of your life and the inner both symbolize your total self. And that gets us to the point, always communicated here in the Essence of Reality. Beyond daily focus on symbols for life's aspects, the inner composite of you is inexorably tied to the outer. Inner meaning held in the vast complex of your psyche manifests into outer aspects, a grand collective of your life's tangible attributes. You comprise a oneness. Your experienced life in all of its events and relationships reflects precisely your inner nature. We break life's aspects down into pieces symbolized by words and sound so we can grasp them and communicate. But the essence is a flowing oneness, the inner manifesting into the outer. Gaining dominion over your life's many complexities is greatly enhanced by simply seeing the interrelated oneness of your own apparent symbolized qualities, inner and outer. No more words needed. But your life is stacked hip deep in symbols and symbolism. If you can begin to discern symbols from real things, you'll go a long way towards immediate perception of what you are. Things we often consider real are actually only symbols of other essences that may be real, or only symbols of yet other things. Sound combinations represent words, and words symbolize objects, actions, and so forth. Already we're 2 layers of symbol deep just in common communication. We were all taught to speak very early on, so our minds are very much conditioned to dealing with symbols of things rather than collections of unlabeled items before our eyes. Your name designates you, a symbol, but you are not the symbol. Your essence comprises your accomplishments, your talents, your wit and hopes, your fears, disappointments, way more than the symbolic description of physical components of your name or family. Meaning, you comprise outwardly, including your name, body, possessions, relationships, job, accomplishments, and all other attributes, reflects yet another composite of inner meaning that is held within the vast storage of your subconscious. The inner composite of you is inexorably tied to the outer. You comprise a oneness. We break life's aspects down into pieces symbolized by words and sounds so that we can grasp them and communicate. But the essence is a flowing oneness, the inner manifesting out into reality.